You're listening to Eastview Patriot Football, live on the home of the Patriots, SHN Sports.
Hey, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. You're going to go out there, you're going to battle, you're going to fight. You're going to do it for one, you're going to do it for one another. Do it for each other, you're going to do it for yourself, you're going to do it for us, and you're going to go out with this win. And it's an awesome feeling. It's an awesome feeling.
And a good Friday evening to you folks. Stephen Strong with you alongside Travis Banks here on SHN Sports for Eastview Patriot Football, live on SHNSports.com as your Patriots get set to take on the Weiss Wolves here in district action. Want to thank you for joining us here as we are set for another live game action here at GISD Athletic Complex here in Georgetown, Texas, home of the Patriots and the Eagles and Southwestern, all on SHNSports.com. As your Patriots have just taken the field, I bring in my partner Travis. Travis, another tough loss last week on the road, unable to get the victory. How tough was that loss last week, and how do you bounce back this week?
It was probably one of the most difficult losses of the season, even more painful than that come from behind Brenham victory a couple of weeks ago. And the fact is, because they had a 10-point lead over the team they played last week, and there's no reason why this Eastview team should not be undefeated in district. It's just been a result of bad play calls in the second half. Last week in the third quarter, Eastview, for whatever reason, went into clock control mode, just trying to run the ball over and over again, and they didn't see much success. They only really saw success when they started to get the ball into Jackson Colson's hands and allow him to air the ball out, throw to his receivers like Devon Little and Carlos Ochoa, and allow his receivers to make the big plays for him. And I don't know what the mindset is behind that, Stephen, but it's got Coach Davies it's got his seat a little warm here tonight because the Eastview fan base is a little bit fed up with these come-from-behind losses.
Yeah, and it's hard not to be after countless times going into the locker room on top in a good position to come out here in the second half and do some work and widen your lead, and instead they have struggled to even come out with a victory as the teams meet there at midfield for the coin toss.
Captains for Eastview include number 18, Chris Honstein, number 9, Ben Simmons, number 16, Cameron Ruffin, and number 35, Justin Nizer. Only 2 captains for the Weiss Wolves, however, a relatively new team here to Texas high school football. The Weiss High School is new and located in Pflugerville, Texas. Their team captains are number 5, Dwayne Sesa, and number 60, Diego Cruz.
Yeah, you mentioned Travis Weiss being a newer school, and they have had some growing pains this season. Have yet to win a game. They come into the season at 0-7, 0-4 in district play. And so Eastview is looking to take advantage of that and hopefully walk out of here with a victory. We're about 5 minutes away from kickoff, and it's good to be back here at home at GISD Athletic Complex. We love being here and are looking forward to this contest.
Knock on wood, it appears our equipment is actually working properly this week. So we apologize again to the fans listening who were listening last week for we basically were unable to present the entire first half last week due to technical issues. And, there's something about that in Leander ISD Stadium, AC Bible Stadium, Steve. And I think last year when we were there for the Eastview versus Leander game, we had some technical difficulties there as well. But knock on wood, everything is back to normal this week.
Yep, and this week here at Birkelbach Field is Military Appreciation Night. So, of course, we thank all of our military and veterans and everyone who fights for this country. Nice appreciation night put together here by Eastview. And with about 3 minutes to go until kickoff, we were going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the national anthem and more pregame action. You're listening to Eastview Patriot Football here live on SHN Sports.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by the Shoning Hip Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, use of sound bites and interviews, and use of any other content, including audio or video, without the direct written consent and permission by the Shoning Hip Network is strictly prohibited and protected by federal and copyright laws. All rights are reserved by the Shoning Hip Network and SHNSports.com.
And welcome back here to Birkelbach Field live in Georgetown, Texas for Eastview Patriot Football here on SHNSports.com. Stephen Strong alongside Travis Banks. Always a pleasure to be back here at home. And as we are about 2 minutes away from kickoff, we do want to talk a little bit about, well, you and I, Travis, have talked about the fact that, Zion Hester is a physical runner. He's a speedy back, but we'd like to see him a little bit more in outside, finding the outside, as we're going to take this moment of silence here to honor everyone, all the veterans, and for Military Appreciation Night.
Please direct your attention to the north end zone as the cadets from Liberty Battalion present the colors for tonight's game, accompanied by the Eastview Fife and Drum Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, under the direction of Trish Douglas and Morgan Kramer, the Eastview Choir will now sing our national anthem.
An always beautiful rendition by this Eastview Choir of the national anthem here on Military Appreciation Night at Birkelbach Field. Stephen Strong alongside Travis Banks. And back to the point I was getting at, Travis, Zion Hester, we've seen him run up the middle a lot, especially the last game, and to not a whole lot of success. You and I have talked about wanting him to kind of bounce outside, but also to give Jackson Colson some more opportunities through the air. Do you think we'll see that? Do you think they'll try to have any air attack? And if so, how do they execute that?
It's really hard to tell because most coaches, no matter what the level, be it NFL, college, or high school, they're very stubborn and they're stuck to their ways, and they will not change anything unless it is, well, basically unless it's forced upon them by their superiors, i.e. they're threatening with job termination. That's basically what happens to a lot of college coaches. They say you have to fire your entire staff unless you otherwise we're going to fire you. The best example I can think of is Chip Kelly in the NFL. He's at UCLA now, but the thing with him in the NFL, he did not find a lot of success, and the reason is because he refused to change anything. Once the professional teams and coaches started to figure out his schemes and his play calls, they could just stop him, and he couldn't do anything about it, and he refused to change, and that is why he is no longer in the NFL. So it's really hard to tell what's going to happen tonight with Eastview, but they are playing a winless team, so you got to think that's like playing in extremely easy mode on a video game or something. We'll see what Eastview does. They do have a much better record here at home than they do on the road. Again, Stephen, they have yet to win a game on the road this season, and they've only got one more opportunity this week, or next week, I should say. However, they are a one-loss team here at home. They've only lost one game, and that was the opener all the way back in week 1 against Westwood. So we'll see what happens here tonight.
And we are almost set for kickoff as Reed Honstein will be booting it from left to right as we see it, as he stands at the 32 set to boot this away. And we are underway here at Birkelbach Field as it's going to be fielded at the 6. It's actually muffed and then picked up and trying to find some space. Stopped at the 15. They may give him an extra yard at the 16. It's Stuart Miller, the return man for the Wolves, unable to get a whole lot after the initial catch. And that will set up the Wolves for their first possession here of the game. At quarterback, number 12, Jackson Sandlin, as he'll line up in shotgun with 2 receivers down to his left, 1 up to his right, and he's got his back to his left. Now they'll send 2 men in motion, so it'll be 3 wide to the right and 1 down to the left. A low snap, he gets it down and he fires it over to the left side, and it is immediately wrapped up. It was caught, but wrapped up there, and it was Rogers, Kalen Rogers on the catch.
Looked like Chris Honstein on the tackle there for Eastview.
Brings up a 2nd down and 9. 2nd and 9 from their own 18-yard line. Sandlin in shotgun, 1 receiver wide on each side. He'll turn and hand it off to his back, who's trying to find some outside space on the right, and getting near the marker. He's going to be stopped short is the back, Jaden Askew. It's good pursuit of the football by Henry to knock him out of bounds. And that is going to bring up a 3rd and short here, 3rd and 2 from the 25. Sandlin in shotgun. 1 receiver down to his left, 2 up top to his right. He'll turn and hand it off once again. This is Askew, who manages to get just past the marker and pick up the Wolf first down.
That was the same play they ran just a second ago, Stephen. They handed off to Askew, and he ran toward the short side of the field, and almost like a sweep, and they're using this motion to confuse the Eastview defense.
First down and 10 from their own 31. Sandlin in shotgun. They'll spread the field now. 3 receivers wide to his left, 1 up top to his right, and he fires over to that receiver on a little bubble screen, and it's read well by that Patriot defense. Oh, and able to corral him for a loss before he could even get back to the line of scrimmage. And it was number 4, Stuart Miller, on the catch.
That was blown up by about 3 different Eastview defensive backs. You said it well, Stephen. They had that scouted from the beginning.
So it goes down as a 2-yard loss. Second down and 12 from their own 29. And now they'll go in a little bit of a bunch formation. 1 receiver wide right, and looked like he took off early. No flags as they hand it off to Askew, who once again gets stood up right at the line of scrimmage. They may give him 1 yard, but he basically got back to the line. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long.
Another one of those shotgun formation sweep running routes. And this time Eastview will not be fooled. So this sets up a huge 3rd down, Stephen.
Yeah, 3rd and 11 from their own 30. And a good chance here for that Patriot defense to get off the field. 9:15 to go here in the first quarter. No score. Weiss opening possession right here, 3rd and 11. And looking to throw this time. It is intercepted. Stephon Reyes racing down the left sideline and taken down at the 5-yard line. At the 15, pardon. The 15-yard line. But Stephon Reyes sandling through it right to his hands, and he stuck with it and started up the field, and that'll set up the Patriot offense with excellent field position.
That's right, Stephen. It looked like Weiss was going to try something with a slant route, but the intended receiver, Eastview, was in zone coverage. Stephon Reyes just kind of stepped into position and broke that slant route up with the zone coverage and intercepted the ball, and it was pretty much thrown right to him. I don't know who Sandlin was looking for. He was trying to lead the receiver, it looked like, but great job getting the interception by Stephon Reyes.
1st down and 10 from their Wolf 15, and they hand it off to Espinosa getting the start. And he is stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Lost a yard, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
We were talking about that during the pregame, Stephen, at how Eastview running a lot of the same plays over and over again. That was one of them, just a rush up the middle.
2nd and 11 from the Wolf 16. Colson looking to throw left, fires, and it is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Knight. Jeremiah Knight unable to bring it in. Good defense to knock the ball away as it came to him. And falls incomplete, brings up 3rd down.
He got wrapped up immediately as he caught the ball, and Knight could never maintain possession of that ball.
3rd and 11 from the Wolves 16. Patriots trying to get on the board here on their opening possession after the interception. Colson in shotgun, 1 receiver wide on each side. Espinosa to his right in the backfield. Colson rolls right, fires. It is incomplete, just out of the reach of the outstretched hands of Carlos Ochoa. There is a flag down.
It's all the way back at the 15.
And it's an offsides call. What a break there for the Patriots. They'll get another crack at this 3rd down.
Christian Hamilton is called for the offsides penalty for Weiss.
That's a killer mistake there for the Wolves, who had stopped the Patriots on that 3rd and long. Now they'll face a 3rd down and 6 from the Wolf 11. 2 receivers wide on each side. Colson looking left, throws left, and it is caught. Trying to get to the 1st down marker and taken out of bounds inside the 5. They'll mark him out at the 4, and that is enough for the 1st down.
Devon Little making the catch there, and a great pass to a wide open Devon. He knew exactly where the 1st down marker was. He got past it and knocked out of bounds, setting up a 1st and goal situation here for Eastview.
Yeah, good route there by Little, and good job getting just past the marker. And like you said, it'll set up or was there a penalty against the Patriots as they're backing up now?
There's no flag on the field that I can see. How bizarre.
Must have been after. No, it is. They are going to replay this 3rd down. So that'll make it 3rd and 10 from the Wolf 15. 2 wide receivers wide on each side. Colson in shotgun fakes the handoff to Espinosa. Fires across the middle in the end zone. Touchdown, Carlos Ochoa. Find himself alone in the back of the end zone. Colson with the easy throw and gets it to him for the Patriot touchdown.
What they did is all the receivers just ran a post route, and Carlos Ochoa was wide open in the middle of the field. I think Jackson Colson thought maybe he was going to start scooting over towards more towards the goal post, but he was still able to make that catch, wide open, completely uncovered.
And the extra point is up and good for Reed Honstein. So with 7:46 remaining here in the first quarter, Patriots on top 7-0. Each team has had a chance at a possession, and Weiss opened up the game with the ball, and they threw an interception straight to Stephon Reyes, who ran it back to the 15, and after a offsides penalty on 3rd down, the Patriots were able to try again. They pick up the 1st down, and then a couple plays later, they get into the end zone with the Colson to Ochoa pass, and they strike first.
And you know, Steven, that's got to be a big morale booster to this entire Eastview team, specifically the defense, because one of the struggles by the defense this year so far has been they're not creating turnovers. Most of these games over the last couple of weeks have been turnover-free by both sides. And it's good to see Eastview get some points and get their defense in such a high-profile position.
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. We have not seen a whole lot of picks, a whole lot of fumble recoveries, but they get one early and are able to strike first. And this kickoff goes out of bounds, so it's going to be a penalty there on Honstein, as that'll set up the Wolves with much better field position than they had last time.
That's a rare mistake by Honstein because there's no wind blowing at all. You can look at the flags, and they're not blowing at all. I think that just kind of caught the edge of Honstein's foot. He's usually pretty good about these kickoffs.
Wow, they even called offsides on the kicking team as well, so that double penalty there will set up the Weiss Wolves 1st down and 10 from their own 30, and this time they hand it off on the sweep route and stuffed at the line of scrimmage and getting nowhere is, I believe it was number 6 there, Jaden Askew.
Now, Weiss so far, they've gotten Eastview on exactly one play, and ever since then they've been struggling on offense.
2nd down and 10 from their own 30. Back to throw is Sandling, who finds his man and cutting up the right hash. It's number 4. He's finally tackled. He didn't get anywhere. It was Stuart Miller on the catch. He shook off a couple wannabe tacklers, but it took so long, and everyone else was able to catch up to him and drop him right at the line of scrimmage. So once again, no gain. This has been a flocking defense so far early on here tonight.
Yeah, they went back and studied their game tape, obviously, because they've had Weiss pretty much figured out for the most part this first quarter.
3rd down and 10 from their own 30. Sandling looking to throw. It's a similar play. This time it is snuffed out for, once again, no gain. Good defense there. And that'll bring up 4th down. I believe it was Dalton Love on the tackle. So out comes the punt unit for the Wolves, and back deep to receive this kick is Isaiah Quinton Jackson, standing right at his own 36.
He returned a kickoff, I should say, 2 weeks ago, the last time Eastview was at home.
And taking a bounce and letting it hop into his arms is Quinton Jackson, who cuts up the field and finally spun around and gang tackled there at the 37. Call it the 39. And Eastview will take over once again. still pretty good field position considering it all, and a nice return there from Jackson.
Kind of funny to say that this is Eastview's worst field position of the evening. It is only their second drive. But after that last drive where they got the interception, you know.
First down and 10 from their own 39. Colson and shotgun, 2 receivers wide on each side. And Colson will fake the handoff, looking to throw. Firing across the middle. It is caught and making a man miss and cutting back upfield, and then gang tackled there inside Wolf territory as he gets just to the other side of the 50, taken down at the 48. Enough for a Patriot first down.
Kobe Cavanaugh.
Kobe Cavanaugh. What a player he has been this season for the Patriots, as it'll be first down and 10. This time they hand it off to Espinosa, cutting up the middle. Nice gain there on first down. He picks up about 8 of it.
Espinosa with the carry out of the backfield. Tackle made by the Wolves, Marcus Lyons. 8-yard gain, second down.
5:05 remaining, second down and 2 from the Wolf 40. Colson in shotgun, 3 receivers wide to his right, 1 up top to his left. And he'll look at throw, has Little on the left, trying to make a man miss and spinning out, and then finally brought down past the first down marker is Little.
He got the first down, Devon Little did, and that was more than enough. He tried to get fancy and juke around some of the 2 defenders covering him and couldn't gain any additional yards from that catch.
And we have an injured Wolf down on the field as he was trying to get off the field and ended up having to sit down right there at the Weiss sideline, just barely in the field of play, so they'll have to take a timeout. Well, not a timeout, an injury timeout here, as he's on his feet now, able to walk off. 4:50 to go here in the first quarter. Patriots on top 7-0.
And just a reminder, we do still have sponsorship opportunities available for as low as $25 a game for these remaining 2 games. Hard to believe the season is almost over, Steven.
Yeah, it's been a wild one. Also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, SHN Sports, to catch all the games every week. First down and 10 from the 36 now, and they will hand it off. Getting a solid chunk of yards, picked up about 4 there on the carry is Espinosa. Patriots taking their time. Second down and 6. And Colson will fake the handoff, looking to throw down the field. It's over the head of his intended receiver. Weiss thinks they intercepted it. It might have hit the ground. The refs are going to huddle. They weren't at a good angle. It was intended for Caden Harris.
And it was intercepted by Dylan Kaufman. They did indeed rule that was an interception. Hard to tell from our vantage point if the ball hit the ground, but the referees are ruling. There was a referee right there, and he ruled that that's a pick. So
what an effort there by the defender to dive under that football and get the pick. So it'll be Wolf football now.
Yeah, he had some assist by Jackson Colson overthrowing that ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
a flag is thrown. It looks like a false start against Weiss to start this drive. So that'll knock him back 5.
Well, that's what happens after you get a turnover like that. You get a little antsy, and you're ready to get it back out onto the field if you're the offense, and that's just what happened there. Just a 5-yard penalty, but still sets up 1st and 15.
And looking to hand off this time and finding some space up the left side is the back, and that is Askew, who finally gets taken down. They do pick up the first down. They got all 15 yards plus a couple more. Tough running and speedy running there from Askew. They call a penalty against the defense, but it does not matter. They'll decline it and take the first down.
The penalty was against DK Little.
So under 4 minutes now to play here in the first quarter. Patriots on top, 7-0. First down and 10 here for Weiss from their own 34. And Sandling will hand it off once again up the middle. And they pick up 3 or 4 on the carry. Askew once again.
Whatever they do in this drive, I think it's going to be a big morale booster to just have Weiss get past the 50. Something they haven't done tonight.
Second down and 6 from their own 38. Sandling in shotgun with 2 receivers wide to his right, 1 down to his left. He'll turn and hand it off, and this time it is erupted in the backfield by Trevon Watts, the first man to get to him and single-handedly bring him down right at the line of scrimmage. May have even lost a yard.
Great job by Watts getting the penetration there and making that tackle in the backfield. Brings up a 3rd down and 6 situation for Weiss. A huge 3rd down here.
3rd and 6 from their own 38. Sandling in shotgun, 2 receivers down to his left, 1 up top to his right. He'll turn and hand it off once again. Askew getting stood up and gang tackled there before, right after the line of scrimmage. That gave him a yard of forward progress, but he was knocked back immediately by that defensive wall.
Yeah, Eastview saw that was going to be a running play from the very beginning. DK Little was the player that got the initial penetration there. And it looks like Eastview went on a late blitz. They weren't exactly showing blitz, but they had the front 7 just lined up on that offensive line.
And that does bring up 4th down, 4th and 5. And the punt team out for Weiss. Jackson standing at his 30 to return. And the punt is away. It's a line drive, not super far. And it just takes a dead bounce right at the 37. It bounced and did not go anywhere. It just stayed right there and landed on the ground. So they'll mark it. And they move it up to the 38. Not too shabby field position once again here for the Patriots.
I think with 1 yard, this is technically the worst field position of the night for Eastview by just 1 yard.
Yeah, they started the last one on the 39. You're right. It'll be first down and 10 from their own 38. 1:49 remaining here in the first quarter. Colson in shotgun will turn and hand it off to Espinosa, trying to shake off a defender and then is rocked backwards. But he did pick up 3 on the play.
Good solid run by Espinosa, who is so far doing a decent job getting the starting position. He's just still looking for that breakthrough play.
Second down.
Kind of make people forget about Zion. Sorry to interrupt you, Steve.
No worries. Second down and 7 from their own 41. Colson looking to throw, looks left, fires down the field to Kavanaugh, and it is caught, it looked like. And they are going to give him the catch. What a catch there by Kavanaugh, pushed out of bounds by Reed Ryland on the coverage. And Ryland had a chance at the ball too, but Kavanaugh unable to kind of moss him and come down with it. First and 10 as Colson will hand it off to Espinosa, who gets a running start and shifts back up the middle of the field and picks up the first down plus 5 more.
We've got a Weiss Wolf slow to get up. This might delay things. No, he's running back to his position. Spoke too soon, and they're going to sub him out real quick. But the good thing about that Kobe Kavanaugh catch just a second ago, Steven, is that Jackson Colson looked like he overthrew Kavanaugh a little bit because Kavanaugh had to jump up to make the catch. But Kavanaugh has some height on him, so he got a leaping start, and that's where your quarterback to wide receiver connection comes in. Kavanaugh knew exactly when to jump up and make that catch.
And this time they'll send Kavanaugh in motion. First and 10. They hand it off up the middle. Good patience there by Espinosa as he initially plugged through the hole and then stopped when it plugged up and then continued forward. And a 9-yard run there. They'll give him 8 on first down and brings up second down and 2.
I think Espinosa's finally starting to feel it. I feel like I'm being too hard on the guy. I said he's been decent so far tonight. He's had a bit of a slow start, but the offensive line just hasn't been able to make any room for him, any holes for him to run through. But his last 2 runs have been his 2 best runs of the evening so far.
And that will be the last play of the first quarter. And a little bit of a slow first quarter for both teams. At the end of one, your score, Patriots 7, Wolves 0. I want to thank you for tuning in to SHNSports.com, live for Eastview Patriot Football. Stephen Strong with you alongside Travis Banks. And Travis, it wasn't the most exciting first quarter, but they did get the turnover on the opening possession for Weiss. They got that interception by Stephon Reyes that set him up nicely for the touchdown. And that's something we haven't seen a whole lot of this season. So overall, pretty positive quarter for the Patriots, even if they're only up one touchdown.
I'd say the biggest, most exciting part of that first quarter for Eastview is, despite Jackson Colson's interception, the defense was able to get an interception of their own. It feels like quite some time since they've gotten some sort of turnover. And the fact that they were able to get points off of that is just icing on the cake. Defense doing their job well so far this first quarter. And another big stat is that Weiss has yet to cross the 50-yard line tonight. So hats off to the defense for a great performance and limiting their yardage on the ground.
So it'll bring up a second down and 3 from the 16. And it's a direct snap to Zion Hester, who turns and hands it off and then thrown backwards. A huge loss there. DK Little on the carry. And it was read well by the defense to throw him backwards.
Like the defense was already sending a couple of linebackers in there. They saw it was a running play because of Zion Hester getting into the Wildcat formation, so they were ready for the run. They just kept coming, and it's like the offensive line just kind of stepped aside. And when Zion Hester pitched the ball, DK Little had nowhere to go.
4-yard loss. It brings up a 3rd and 7 from the Wolf 20. Colson in shotgun with one receiver up top, 2 down to his left.
3 seconds on the play clock.
He's got to get it off, and he does. Justin, no, he may not have. Actually, a timeout is called by the Patriots just before the play clock expired.
Yeah, that was a risky move by Eastview. I thought for a second they had the ball. They had the ball snapped off, but Coach Davies calling the timeout just in the nick of time. And now we'll go ahead and take this opportunity to remind you about the remaining sponsorships for the next 2 games. They start as low as $25 a game. So if you're interested, you can email our boss, the founder of SHN Sports. That's Rob Hipp. You probably know him from the Georgetown community and all the good things he does for the Georgetown community. His email is rob@shnsports.com, rob@shnsports.com. That's rob@shnsports.com if you want to help out with these final 2 broadcasts, because a portion of that fee goes back to Eastview High School, which is always good.
A huge 3rd down here upcoming for both teams. 3rd and 7 from the Wolf 20. 11-11 remaining here in the second quarter. And it's a shovel pass there to Zion Hester, who speeds his way through traffic and gets inside the 10 and is taken down at the 8. And a flag comes in. Multiple flags are thrown late. He had definitely picked up the first down. Some late flags on the play.
I wonder if they're going to call some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct there, because when Zion got up, it looked like maybe the ball was thrown into the air a little bit. There could have also been some jaw-jacking between players. So Drake Rodriguez for Eastview being called on that penalty. It was a personal foul. 15-yard variety, so that sets Eastview back. You know, that would have set up a 1st and goal inside the 10, and now they're back outside the 20.
The first down should count, no? Yeah, it'll still be first down. It's just like further back than where they started on that 3rd down.
Looks like they're going to spot the ball at the 23-yard line. So Eastview outside of the red zone now.
So 1st down and 10 from the 23 of the Wolves, and they hand it off this time to Quinton Jackson, who fell down as he was turning up the field. And he hasn't had a whole lot of carries this season. He ends up losing a yard.
Yeah, it's what happens to everybody from time to time. He just kind of took a misstep and ended up falling right down on his knee. So, in essence, taking a knee. Only a loss of 1, though, if there's one positive thing coming out of that play.
2nd and 11 from the Wolves 24. Colson in shotgun, 2 receivers to his right, 1 down to his left. He'll turn and hand it off to Jackson, who fires it down the field, and it is caught by, who is that? In the corner of the end zone.
That's Ochoa.
Carlos Ochoa. What a play. Some trickeration here from the Patriots as they ran a similar play to the one before, and instead of having Jackson run the ball to the left, he rolled right and then threw the ball down the field to a diving Ochoa, who managed to get across the goal line for the Patriot touchdown. What a play.
What a throw by Quentin Jackson, too. I didn't know Isaiah could throw like that. I didn't know he had an arm.
I did not either, as Honstein gets it through on the extra point to make this a 14-0 game. Patriots on top, 10-10 remaining here in the second quarter.
That was a 24-yard touchdown pass. When it all is said and done, Carlos Ochoa with his 2nd touchdown of the night. He's got one from 15 yards out from Jackson Colson and another one from 24 yards out. So another big night in a series of them for Carlos Ochoa.
So the Patriots, despite the personal foul penalty, are able to get it into the end zone and widen their lead to 14 points here early in the second quarter. Patriots with 2 timeouts left for the remainder of this first half. Weiss has all 3. 10-10 remaining in the second quarter. And Honstein is set to kick this one away. That's a nice end over end kick being fielded at the 1 and kind of reversing field, going all the way to the left side and not getting much as he is stood up and brought down. And they give it to him at the 15. I'm not even sure he made it that far, but they'll spot it at the 15. Good special teams coverage there by the Patriots.
Indeed. And I think a lot of this tonight is Weiss growing pains. They're not able to get a lot of yardage on these special teams, and that can make the difference between a win and a loss. Eastview's just have had them from the get-go.
First down and 10 from their own 15. Sandling and shotgun will turn and hand it off up the middle and stuffed and thrown backwards. Forward progress will give them a gain of 2, but a late flag is thrown near the linebackers. It was Jordan Hatley on the tackle.
They're calling hands to the helmet on DK Little. And I've never quite heard a penalty called like that before. I mean, hands are allowed. You just can't make a grip and pull using the helmet. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, you can't get near the face mask. I didn't see DK Little on that play, but they call him for some sort of hand to the helmet.
I feel like if it were a face mask, they would have called a face mask.
Yeah, you'd think. First down and 10 as the ball is dropped, and then Sandling able to pick it up and gain 1 yard somehow. Brings up second down.
Again, I mentioned the growing pains earlier. It's growing pains like that. Sandlin has had to deal with a couple of bad snaps tonight. Nothing that's, resulted in a turnover, but just a couple of high snaps, a couple of low snaps here and there. And they'll get over those, but it just takes time, takes practice.
Second down and 9 from their own 34. Sandlin looking to throw. Quick route, and it is dropped by his wide open receiver on the left side.
Sandlin's pass intended for Meeks, incomplete. That'll bring up third down.
It was Curtis Meeks, the one to drop it, and brings up 3rd and 9.
That would have been a solid gain for Weiss. Set them up with about 3rd and 4 had Meeks been able to hold on to that catch. But that's just bad luck right there, making that drop wide open.
Brings up 3rd and 9 from their own 34. Sandlin looking to throw. Fires it deep down the left sideline over the head of everybody. A flag is thrown.
They're going to call pass interference probably on Colt Cobble. Colt Cobble was the defender on that play. And the arms were tangled up a little bit, Steven, but I didn't see – I mean, they were both looking at the ball. I didn't see anything that resulted in a flag that would have warranted a flag. And I'm sorry, not Colt Cobble, but Justin Henry was the defender on that play. And that will result in an automatic first down for Weiss.
Yep, and they do call the defensive pass interference. So this drive stays alive for the Wolves, as they will be all the way at the 49-yard line, their own 49, their side of the 50.
They still haven't crossed the 50 yet. Eastview can still keep that streak intact.
Oh, so close here for the Wolves. First down and 10. And Sandlin in shotgun. He turns and hands it off, and getting across the 50 and taken down at the 48 into Patriot territory for the first time.
It looked to me like Christian Cortez was in on that tackle. And that's the first, just a solid run up the middle by Askew. And Weiss crosses the 50 for the first time tonight.
Second down and 7 from the Patriot 48. And a handoff this time, once again to Askew. Tough running there, staying on his feet and brought down right at the 40 by Stefan Reyes, finally getting to him. And that is enough for the Wolf first down.
And that was great hustle by Stefan Reyes, because Askew was running towards the short side of the field, the right sideline, the Eastview sideline. And Stefan Reyes is a linebacker, middle linebacker, and so he was running all the way across the field, got that initial contact, wrapped up Askew's legs, and just refused to let go.
8 minutes and counting here to go in the second quarter. Patriots on top 14-0. Wolves trying to get a drive going. A high snap. Sandlin gets it down, fires it to the left side, and it is caught and running up the left side. Finally tripped up well inside the 30. Taken down at the 27-yard line was Kobe McCoy, the speedster, making a couple people miss, and was brought down by a defender on the ground. I didn't see who it was, but he was trying to get up and was just able to trip up McCoy.
I believe it was Jordan Oswald, number 17 for Eastview, who made that tackle. And, again, that was just a grab onto the foot for dear life and don't let go type of tackle.
First down and 10 from the Patriot 27. And Sandlin with 2 receivers to his right. He'll turn, hands it off once again, and dropped immediately is the back, Askew. And he pops right back up, but a hard hit there, and after he picked up 2.
I think Christian Cortez was the one on the tackle again there. Just, again, getting great penetration.
About midway through the second quarter, Weiss trying to get on the board. Second down and 8 from the Patriot 25. Sandlin in shotgun, 2 receivers to his left. Now listen, 1 in motion from left to right. They hand it off once again to Askew, who runs up the middle and picks up once again another first down for the Wolves. He gets all the way to the 15.
Askew had a huge hole there opened up by the offensive line. He was able to get all the way into the Eastview backfield before being brought down. I think they were expecting a run to the outside because that's where Weiss has had the most success tonight.
First down and 10 from the Patriot 15. 2 wide receivers wide right. 1 up top to his left. Sandlin in shotgun will send a man in motion. He'll hand it off to the speedy back coming up the left hash. And once again, it was McCoy, Kobe McCoy. On the carry, he gets a good chunk of yardage. Picked up 4.
They'll be tackled by Eastviews Jordan Hatley.
Jordan Hatley making the tackle. As Weiss has got themselves a little drive here.
Yeah, they've settled in quite nicely here in the second quarter. 2nd down and 6 from the Patriot 11. They send a man in motion. This time they hand it off to Askew up the middle, and finally he's brought down after no gain.
Askew ran into a wall of Eastview defenders just right there. He had nowhere to go.
Isaiah Quinton Jackson in on the stop from his safety spot, and it brings up a big 3rd down. 3rd and 5 from the Patriot 10. Sandlin in shotgun will turn, hand it off to a big boy. Big back there, gets all the way to the 5, and that is enough for the 1st down. He got just enough. It's, I believe, Zach Linz as he gets the ball again here on the goal line. This time they're able to bring him down after a 2-yard pickup on 1st and goal. He's a big guy down there. It's tough to bring down.
Well, that's a huge 1st down for Weiss.
And bring up 2nd and goal here from the 5 as they turn and hand it off once again, and he just trying to plug into that goal line and finally brought down at the 1. It looked like he was going to be able to plunge in there, but good stop. And strong defense there by the Patriots to bring up a 3rd and goal from the 1.
Eastview needs to think about 2 weeks ago versus Bastrop when they held them. They stopped them short on 4th and 2.
Sandlin will turn, hand it off one more time, and not going to get there. Once again, the defense holds up on Zach Linz to deny him the touchdown.
Almost deja vu of 2 weeks ago against Bastrop, that one play, and that results in a loss of 1 yard probably for Weiss. Actually, no, Eastview is going to set that up right on the plane. It's going to be 4th down and inches to the goal. And, Steven, I think if you're Weiss, you got to go for it, and they are going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't won a game all year. You're on the goal line in a 2-possession game, 3:40 remaining in the second quarter. Why not? And they're going to call a timeout as the play clock was winding down. I think they want to talk this over anyway. It's a big play for them. And they do call timeout with 3:33 remaining here in the second quarter. And Patriots are on top 14-0. Wolves threatening. If you're Weiss, what do you call here as they've tried to plug it up the middle about 3 straight times with the big back Zach Linz, and Eastview has seen that coming and done a good job to prevent him from getting across.
Steven, you got to go with a quarterback sneak here. They're going to need their quarterback to just Sandlin to just take the snap. It's inches, literally inches. Like all Sandlin would have to do is take the snap and maybe lean forward, maybe stick his arm out and hope nobody knocks the ball out from him. You know, maybe get that kung fu grip ready. But they've got to go with a quarterback sneak here, quarterback draw, whichever one works. And I think Eastview recognizes that because they are all bunched up in the middle there.
4th down and goal. Sandlin in shotgun with Linz behind him. He turns and whispers something to him. There's a receiver wide left. And they turn, and they're not going to get there. Look like that's a turnover on downs. No good. As it looked like Sandlin was going to be throwing. He kind of started to act like he was going to throw or drop back. And then at the last second, he turned and tried to hand it to Linz, but kind of bumped into him, and the whole play just took so long to develop that by the time Linz even had it, they were surrounded by that defensive front of Eastview and brought him down for a loss.
You know what else it looked like to me, Steven, is that Sandlin was looking to hand the ball off on his left side, but the running back was on his right side, and that's that type of growing pains miscommunication I was talking about.
So instead, it'll be 1st down and 10 from the Patriot 2 as Colson will fire it over to Devon Little on the left side. Little trying to make a man miss, spins out, and then finally is pushed out of bounds with a defender hanging on his leg. as he gets it to the 12, and that is just enough for the Patriot first down.
I was kind of shocked they went with a pass play there, Steven, because 2 weeks ago when that happened, Eastview got the stop on 4th and 2. They handed the ball off to Zion Hester. He took it all the way home for 98 yards.
And brings up 1st and 10, and this time they do hand it off to Hester, trying to find some space, and is ridden out of bounds at the 20. 8-yard gain.
Zion Hester with the carry. 8-yard gain on the play, 2nd down.
Stops the clock with 3:14 remaining here in the second quarter. Patriots trying to get on the board one more time before halftime, as Colson will line up here on 2nd and 2 from their 20. And shotgun, 2 receivers wide to his right, 1 down to his left, and he'll turn and hand it off to Hester once again, getting through the initial hole, and then it went away very quickly as it gained 1. Or no, he gained 3, just enough for the first down. So it keeps this drive going with 3:06 to go and counting.
I think Eastview's going back into clock control. They've got 3 minutes to work with here. They don't see the need to score right off the bat with this 14-point lead, so they're going to wear the clock down, wear this Weiss defense down.
1st and 10 from their own 23. Colson and shotgun looking to throw now. Fires down the field, down the middle. It is Little, caught at the 40, 35, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Patriots.
Devon Little. No flags on the play that well, wait, no, there is. I heard the whistle blow, but back at the 25-yard line by the EV logo, there's a flag. So, gosh, that would have been an 83-yard, no, a 77-yard touchdown reception by Devon Little, called back because of whatever this foul is. Although
they say taunting?
I believe they did. They called it 15 yards from the spot of the foul, which looked to me like the spot where Devon Little broke free from his 2 defenders. I don't know where Devon Little would have gotten the time to taunt there, unless maybe he said something. I'm not sure, but they're still giving Eastview the first down.
Instead of a huge touchdown play, it'll be 1st down and 10 from the Weiss 25 with 2:34 on the clock here in the first half. Colson and shotgun will turn and hand it off to Hester. Hester bursting up the middle with some speed and getting inside the 10, taken down at the 7-yard line. Man, that kid is quick.
18 yards, Hester's longest run of the night.
And quickly back to the line of scrimmage. Colson hands it off, and play is blown dead right as Hester had a clear shot to the end zone.
There was a timeout called. Looks like it was by Weiss.
And that is the case, so smart by the Wolves to call timeout, as their defense was not ready for whatever play that was about to become, and it looked like Hester was about to go into the end zone untouched. Instead, it'll be a timeout with 2:20 remaining here in the second quarter.
And a good use of the timeouts, too, because there's still plenty of time. If you get the ball back, you've still got 1 remaining. And say you get the stop here, too, you'll have a little under 2 minutes. If Eastview scores here, if you're Weiss, you have over 2 minutes remaining when you get the ball back, and you'll still have that 1 timeout left to work with. So a lot of variety of options that can take place here.
So it'll be 1st down and goal here, as Colson will turn and hand it off to Hester. Hester trying to find some space and does not get any, as he maybe got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe lost a yard. It's going to bring up 2nd and goal.
I think if you're Eastview, Steven, this has become a must-score situation, because you can't come down, march your way down 98 yards, and settle for a field goal.
I'm with you, especially after you score and then get it taken back because of a penalty. This time Hester trying to find some space up the left sideline, gets over the corner. Did it get in? No, the line judge marks him out at the 1 as he was diving for that pylon on the left corner. And they say he did not get over, so it'll bring up 3rd and goal.
Yeah, Zion just didn't have enough room to maneuver right there. He dove and he stuck the ball out, but the ball looked like it hit the outside of the pylon.
There's a lot of traffic in there for sure. This time Colson sneaks under center and dives in for the touchdown as he does the quarterback sneak and gets the Patriot touchdown as they widen their lead.
Again, just a great call. Handed the ball off to Jackson Colson. You only had 1 yard to make it, and he got assisted by a great push by that Eastview offensive line, and that was what Weiss was unable to do on the other side of the field, and a great way to cap off a 98-yard drive by Eastview.
As Hanstein will come in for the extra point. Yeah, there was no doubt about it, the way that offensive line was able to push him down, push him through. The extra point is up and good from Hanstein. With 1:39 remaining here in the second quarter, Patriots are on top 21-0.
21-0, and boy, you just see that there's 1:39 remaining in this half. Patriots up 3 scores, and it's another one of those familiar sights. It's something that shouldn't be in the back of your mind, but it is. Again, 2 weeks ago, Steven, you weren't here for that game, but Eastview led Bastrop at halftime and ended up winning that game by 5 points. But Bastrop put a scare into Eastview. I have my doubts, I will go ahead and say that Weiss is going to be able to make that big of a comeback as we've seen over the last 3 weeks, but you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Eastview, despite playing a winless Weiss team, you absolutely cannot let up, as we've seen them do many times this season, going into halftime with a lead, no matter how big or small. Got to continue to play hard. As Hanstein is set to kick this one away. As it is going to be into the end zone. Nice kick there from Hanstein as it sails over the head of everybody. And Weiss will get the ball at their 25. Now if you're Weiss, you're wanting to kind of get on the board, but you're not wanting to do anything crazy that'll give the Patriots more of a score. So see how aggressive they choose to be here with 1:39 until halftime. Sandlin in shotgun with one receiver wide to his left, 2 down to his right. They'll send a man in motion from right to left, and they hand it off to him as he gets tackled from behind after about a 5 or 6 yard pickup.
That was number 30. No.
It was number 22, Kalen Rogers, on the carry. And it brings up 2nd down and 4 from their own 31. As Sandlin will hand it off this time to Askew, who picks up 1.
Now a huge 3rd down for Weiss is set up as they've got less than a minute left to work with, and just for them, a big morale boost would be getting any sort of points on the board.
Yeah, a long way to go, and they don't seem to be in too much of a rush to do it, as they'll let the play clock go all the way down.
I think their mindset here, Steven, is that they're just going to take the possession into halftime and regroup there.
3rd down and 3 from their own 32, and they'll try to hand it off. It was dropped, and then Sandlin picks it up and gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage for a pretty big loss. And that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between the game clock and the play clock. Actually, everything has stopped. Looks like there was a time. Oh, Eastview called a timeout. That's what happened. They want the ball back with this 18 seconds left.
Eastview still with 1 timeout remaining. And they should be receiving a punt here from Weiss with 18 seconds to go here until halftime.
You forget about that that passion, that desire that Coach Davies has. He wants to utilize every single second of clock that he can get to try to put points on the board, and that's what's happening here. He's going to hope that Isaiah Quentin Jackson can return the ball at least to the side of the 50 to set up maybe a big pass play. Eastview will have at least 10 seconds to work with here after this return.
As the punt is a short one, it takes a bounce and fair caught by Jackson, and it's going to roll all the way down to nearly the 30. And the clock will stop with 5 seconds to go until halftime. Eastview will get the ball at the 30, their own 30. So despite there being like 18 seconds at the start of that play, by the time the ball stopped rolling, it's all the way at 5. So I would expect the Patriots just to kind of hand it off here and see what they get as the clock winds down. First down and 10 from their own 30. 3 receivers wide right, 1 down to his left. Colson in shotgun with Hester standing at his right. And he'll throw it to Hester on the right side, speeding down the right sideline, and then just has to step out of bounds as he ran out of room and there was too many people in front of him. And that will be the last play of the first half with your score, Patriots 21, Wolves 0. I want to thank you for joining us tonight here on Eastview Patriot Football live on SHNsports.com. As we have reached halftime, and of course we'll let you listen to the bands here in a second, but Travis, a strong first half for the Patriots. The defense was absolutely dominant, even letting Weiss get all the way to the goal line and having a goal line stand and then stop them on 4th down and get the ball back. So, I mean, what do you see? What do you like? What do you want to improve on going into the second half?
Defense has been on fire, so I'm not sure what else you would change there when you really think about it. Weiss has been kind of inching up when it comes to rushing the ball up the middle, so maybe move some guys around and work on that. But outside of that, they've done really well at protecting against the pass, as well as the Eastview offense. I mean, all of their success has come through the air. So maybe start to utilize some play-action passes or some draw plays if you really must set up the run. But Zion Hester, once he came into the game in the second quarter, things have really started to take off for the Eastview's ground game as well. So we should see Eastview cruise to an easy victory in the second half. But again, you can't really ignore the fact that these last 3 weeks have happened for Eastview. And so it'll be really interesting to see what kind of halftime adjustments they make and what kind of halftime adjustments Weiss makes as well.
You know Weiss is going to be in there in the locker room saying, look at these guys. They've been up 3 straight weeks at halftime. They're human. They are not unbeatable going in with a halftime lead, and they're probably going to come out fired up trying to get their first win of the season. So, yeah, I mean, I think Eastview is going to continue this, but we'll see what happens. But, yeah, Colson has looked good tonight. He did have that interception on that one overthrow. It was a heck of an interception, a diving interception. But even it was off target, but that was really his one low light.
Yeah, he's got 3 touchdowns total, 2 through the air, 1 on the ground on that quarterback sneak just a couple of moments ago. The 1 interception, both touchdown passes being thrown to Carlos Ochoa, one from 15 yards out and the other from 24 yards out. Devon Little would have a touchdown added to that total. However, that was a 77-yard touchdown that was called back due to a taunting penalty, and it ended up being a 52-yard reception credited to Devon Little, and that's the same drive that Jackson Colson scored on that QB sneak. And Zion Hester did some great running inside the red zone following that penalty. And so you got to think Eastview's offense is pretty much clicking on all cylinders at this point, and there's not much you can do to stop them outside of, I don't know, going to halftime right now, really. That's the only thing stopping this Eastview offense. And
we did see a little bit of trickeration, which was kind of uncharacteristic of this Patriot team, handing it off to Isaiah Quinton Jackson, who normally doesn't even play offense, let alone throw a touchdown pass to Ochoa down the field for 30, 40 yards for his touchdown play.
Yeah, and some of those times they tried the trickeration, it almost seemed like there was miscommunication by Eastview, because the one I can remember, the one that stands out, is it was the direct snap to Zion Hester in the Wildcat formation, and Hester tried to pitch the ball to Quentin Jackson, as you said, but there were some timing issues. The timing was off on that play, and Weiss just they were avoiding all the blocks, all the linemen, and so they were easily able to get in there, get some penetration, and break everything apart, break that play up. And it's just one of those things, Stephen, that, you know, you work on that in practice, but when you're not used to running plays like that all the time, practice, you know, you just got to keep practicing that. That's really the first time we've seen a play like that. So it's easy to understand why it kind of blew up for Eastview. But when you can say that and an interception are the two lowlights, you know, a 5-yard loss and an interception, and you're still leading 21-0 at halftime, I'd say it was a pretty good half for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a dominant half put together by the Patriots, as we have reached halftime here, and we're going to turn it over to the field to let you listen to the bands. And we'll be back with second half action. Thanks for tuning in. Stephen Strong alongside Travis Banks. You're listening to Eastview Patriot Football live on SHNSports.com, and enjoy halftime.
Team of the Sparklers are led on to the field by 2018-2019 dance officers. Junior Lieutenant Aubrey Jordan. Senior Lieutenant Jackie Adams. First Lieutenant Madison Rand. And Captain Peyton Russell. Social officers are Samantha Vidales, Emma Aguirre, and Head Social Officer Erica Pineda. Sparkler of the Week is Kylie Smitherman. Spirit Girl of the Week is Aspen Alford. Sit back and enjoy the Sparklers as they perform their high-energy palm routine to We Got the Beat. Take it away, Sparklers. year's Eastview Patriot Band Show is entitled Criminal. The show features the music of Fiona Apple, Justin Timberlake, Hans Zimmer, David Arnold, and Michael Price, arranged by Daniel Montoya Jr. Here with soloist Brendan Hampton on euphonium, Isabel Lara on trombone, and Alex Halford on flute. Let's welcome them with a tremendous round of applause. And now, under the field direction of drum majors Alex Alford, Oscar Menchaca, and Christopher Milton, I proudly present to you the Eastview Band from Patriot Land. The band leadership would like to recognize these members for their outstanding contributions this week. Woodwind member of the week is Aaron Brazil. Brass member of the week is Amy Lambert. Percussion member of the week is Madeline Widlowski. Section of the week is the baritone section. Directors of the Eastview Patriot Band are Jesus Torres, Matt Murray, Spencer Garrison, and Gabe Drew, with assistance from Christian Gray, Paul Nye, Lisa Barra, and Eddie Tucker. Other Eastview Associated band staff include Rachel Butler, Jeff Owen, Claire Trowbridge, and Daria White. Georgetown Independent School District Director of Fine Arts is Carol Watson, with assistance from Amy Holmes and Gretchen Parker. Eastview High School Principal is Dr. Dave Denny. Associate Principal is Dr. Alan Reese, and Assistant Principals are Dan Garza, Lisa Gurley, Rebecca Lambert, and Katie Ross. The band is sponsored by St. David's Georgetown, Visiting Angels, and Cody Ford.
Let's welcome back the Weiss Wolves. And here come your Patriots.
And welcome back to Birkelbach Field here at GISD Athletic Complex in Georgetown, Texas, here on SHNSports.com. Stephen Strong with you alongside Travis Banks as we bring you Eastview Patriot football live as we are at the end of halftime where the Patriots lead 21-0 over the visiting Weiss Wolves. And was a dominant performance in the first half. And we are just about set for the kickoff to start second half action.
Dominant indeed, specifically on the defensive side, Steven. One interception, first turnover in quite some time, and holding Weiss to 0 points, something that has not been done so far this season.
And this kickoff is short. It's fielded at the 22 by Carlos Ochoa, who runs it from right to left and then gets tackled down in the middle of the field all the way to the 35. And that is where Eastview will start this football game, or start this second half.
Yeah, they've got a solid 21-point lead. Not the largest halftime lead they've had this season. But again, you've got to wonder, the last 3 weeks, they've allowed the teams to creep back up on them, and in 2 of those 3 cases, Eastview has ended up losing the game because of it.
It'll be first down and 10 from their own 36. Colson in shotgun, 2 receivers down to his right. He turns and hands it off to Hester up the middle. Nobody's going to catch him. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Patriots. What a run by Zion Hester.
Just like that, Eastview extends their lead, and what a great hole opened up for Zion Hester by that Eastview offensive line. He ran right up the middle, turned the Jets on, and he was gone, Steven. Nobody's going to touch him from that distance. Officially a 64-yard run by Zion. Wow, that's got to put him over 100 yards on the night.
As soon as he broke through that initial defense and saw the open field in front of him, I knew there was no one that was going to catch him, and I think everyone in this stadium knew that he was gone as the extra point is up and good. With 11:43 remaining in the third quarter, Patriots are on top 28-0. And we talked about how they've had some struggles coming out of the locker room in the second half after having a lead at halftime. And looking sharp here to start this second half as they increase their lead immediately on that Zion run.
It's funny, Stephen, because towards the end of the third quarter, I figured that was the kind of play Eastview was going to run when they were in the shadow of their own goalpost on 1st and 10 from their own 2-yard line after they got that 4th down stop on the Weiss offense. But they ended up throwing a couple of pass plays on that drive to get out of the shadow of their own goalpost. You know, 2 weeks ago against Bastrop, Zion Hester had a run for 98 yards from scrimmage. I know I'm not able to be quiet about that play, but it was just so spectacular. And good to see Zion, you know, he hasn't lost his groove, so to speak.
Honstein set to kick this one away. Back deep to receive is Stuart Miller, standing at about his 5, and this is the line drive into a ring kick, and it's going to be fielded at the 1 by Miller as he runs it up and trying to avoid some tacklers, gets it to the right sideline, and is tackled and ridden out of bounds. They mark him out at the 19-yard line. So Weiss will get a crack at it here in the second half.
And now this will be an interesting drive for Weiss because we'll get to see what kind of halftime adjustments their coaching staff made. And again, we'll get to see if Eastview's defense can continue to hold.
First down and 10 from their own 19. Sandlin in shotgun, 1 receiver wide on each side. He's got his running back to his right. Askew as he'll turn and hand it off to the receiver who cut it on the sweep route and picks up a solid gain there on first down, ridden out of bounds after a gain of 3.
Good run by Weiss. Get a couple more of these 3-yard runs, they'll be in business, you know, because those short runs turn into longer runs down the line.
2nd and 7, and they turn and hand it off this time again and trying to move the pile as he is stood up and still on his feet. Now they'll finally blow the play dead. He's very near a first down, and they are going to give it to him. Solid run there by Askew to pick up the Wolf first down.
That's really what Eastview has to watch out for the last couple weeks. It has been runs that have just decimated this defense, and they've been out on the field for most of these last couple of second halves. So they just need to keep getting these stops and get off the field, get some rest.
10:55 remaining here in the third quarter. First down and 10 from their own 29 here for Weiss. Sandlin in shotgun, 2 receivers on his right. He'll turn and hand it off once again to Askew, and it is stopped in the backfield that time for a loss. Stephon Reyes, the first man to get to him. Reyes with that interception earlier in the game on the Wolves' opening drive. He's played a heck of a game tonight.
There are really 3 big players for the Wolves tonight. Those have been Stuart Miller, the running back, Askew, Jaden Askew, and Kobe McCoy.
This time Striplin looking to throw, and it is caught by Askew in the flat, and he is brought down rather quickly. Sandlin able to get it out of his hands as he was being pressured and able to make something positive of it. Brings up third down.
That was a designed screen pass to the running back, DK Little, getting some pressure and almost got to Sandlin there. But Sandlin able to get the ball away in a decent gain, sets up 3rd and short, or well, 3rd and manageable, I should say.
It's going to be 3rd and 5 from their own 34-yard line. Sandlin in shotgun, 2 receivers wide to his left, 1 up top to his right, and he will look to throw, drops back, fires it across the middle of the field, a short throw, but able to get near the first down marker before he got tackled, and he is short. Just a yard short. Good job by Mark Rodriguez to bring him down, and out comes the punt unit on 4th and 1.
The key factor of this drive is that Weiss has noticed something about Eastview's defense and that they're blitzing a lot, because that's 2 designed screen passes in a row, both to the running back Askew, and you got to think that's going to come into play a little later on, maybe on this next drive, if Weiss's defense can get a stop here.
So Jackson, standing at his own 32, will return this punt. It's a short punt, and it falls out of bounds near the 42. We'll see where they mark it. And they're going to say it went out at the 41-yard line. So once again, good field position for the Patriot offense. And they've had that pretty much all night except for the turnover on downs on the goal line stand that set them up at their own 2. But you can't be mad at that. The defense did work. And other than that, they've had good field position. Punters struggling here for the Wolves.
I think their second worst starting position has been from the 35-yard line.
As Colson will hand it off to, I believe it's Espinosa on the carry, trudging forward, and it was actually
Drake Rodriguez.
Yeah, I believe it was, you're right. Drake Rodriguez there on the carry. Number 50 getting some action at running back, as it'll bring up 2nd and 8. Colson will hand it off this time to Jackson, who was able to get past him initially and then ridden backwards after getting back to the line of scrimmage and bring up 3rd down.
Here's what I've been talking about, Steven, the last couple of weeks. It's these same running plays, up the middle. Gaining barely any yards. He's just got to watch out for that. They've got to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. If that means throwing the ball, then so be it.
Hester checks back in at running back. So it'll be 3rd and 8 from their own 43. Colson in shotgun, 2 receivers down to his right, 1 down to his left. Looking left, fires it, and it is nearly intercepted. It falls incomplete. Both players had a chance at it. It was intended for Kobe Kavanaugh, and he's lucky just to knock that ball away as it hit the ground as both players went at it. And it's going to be a punting situation for the Patriots.
Not the way Eastview wanted this drive to go at all, but a great defensive stand by the Weiss Wolves, who they've not had much to celebrate on defense all night.
Honstein able to boot this one away. It's going to take a bounce straight up in the air and then kind of roll to a stop at the 22. Yeah, they'll mark it at the 22-yard line. .7:25 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Patriots on top, 28-0. Both teams with all 3 timeouts remaining. And the Patriot defense back on the field. Sandlin in shotgun, 2 receivers wide to his right, 1 down to his left. And the direct snap to the back is muffed, and I believe Patriots recover it as the quarterback, Sandlin, had kind of taken a step to the left. The back took a step to his left. It was number 24, I believe, Kobe McCoy, to take the direct snap. He's not used to that, and it just bounced off his hand straight up into the air. He couldn't find the ball, and then Patriots fell on it.
We've seen a lot of those miscommunications and errors by the Weiss offense tonight, be it high snaps, low snaps, a couple of those miscommunications where Sandlin thinks a running back is going to be taking the ball from his left side, but the running back runs to the right, stuff like that.
So 1st down and 10 from the Wolf 17. They turn and hand it off to Hester, who ends around to
DK Little.
DK Little, who rumbles in for the touchdown. Patriots increase their lead here midway through the 3rd. On an end-around play call, getting fancy a little bit here on offense tonight, and it has worked in their favor as they widen their lead.
17 yards for DK Little. It was a pitch play. As you said, Steven, Zion Hester took the initial handoff, ran it to the left side, pitched it to DK Little, who was running to the right side. He picked up some great blocks along the way as he crossed the right hash mark and ran right into the end zone. Did a little bit of a dive, spinning dive, a flipping dive too, if you will. So adding some decoration to that touchdown run.
The extra point is up and good from Honstein. And with 7:13 remaining here in the 3rd quarter, Patriots are on top 35-0. Wolves struggling to get anything going here in this game, and the struggles continue here in the 2nd half.
I think we're reaching that point where you can kind of, loosen the grip on your seat cushion because it's going to be hard for Weiss to make a 35-point comeback and at least tie this game up, and that's if they hold Eastview to 0 points for the rest of this game. So the route is on, you could say, as there's still a bit of a there's still a bit of a hesitated silence here among this Eastview faithful that have turned out braving this cooler weather for tonight's game. Gosh, the weather's been so great today, and
yes, it has.
Maybe about the last 36 hours or so, except for all that rain. I mean, we're still boiling our water down in Austin, but that has not been fun, and kind of makes you realize how spoiled you really are in life.
Absolutely, yeah. We're definitely learning to be appreciative down in Austin for all the little things now, and getting water. As Honstein sends this one away, it's going to be fair caught as it flies into the end zone for the touchback.
Touchback on the kickoff. Weiss will have the ball first down and 10 from their own 25-yard line.
Decent field position, though. Weiss will get their ball on their own 25. They had something going, I thought, with those screen passes before they had that last turnover, Steven.
Yeah, they've been, Eastview has been applying pressure and getting. Weiss has been trying to get the ball out of Sandlin's hands pretty quickly, and they've done a good job of that. But as they hand it off this time once again to McCoy, and he has stood up at the line of scrimmage. It may have given him half a yard. It brings up second down.
A lot of these Weiss runs are to the right side. I think it's because they know they can't get much going through the middle of the field, and it's rare that they've had any success that way tonight, Steven. And the problem is these plays are taking way too long to develop.
Second down and 9 from their own 26. Sandlin in shotgun. 2 receivers down to his left. He'll turn and hand it off, plugging up the middle and getting a little bit, but not much. A couple yards on the run. It's a good job by the defense, and big pile down there where the tackle was made. Eastview making a lot of substitutions here, keeping guys fresh.
And that's a good move for the future, because as we approach playoff season, it's looking more and more likely like Eastview will lock up one of the 4 playoff spots in the district. So might as well start getting some guys, some new guys, some playing time, playing experience.
3rd and 6 from their own 34. And looking to throw is Sandlin as he heaves it down the field. It's intercepted. And trying to find some blockers. Who else? Zion Hester, who just checked in the game, reverses field and tries to spin out of a tackle, spin out of another one. He's still running around up and down the field, left to right. Now he has some free daylight up the right sideline. 1 man to beat. And finally getting taken down at the 2-yard line, maybe the 1. There's a flag on the play. After all that running, there's actually 2 flags on the play, I believe. We'll see what the call
3.
is.
I think every referee got rid of their flag. I don't know what that is down by right next to the football, but
it's different spots.
Yeah,
all over the field by different refs.
It's got to be holding, because you saw Zion Hester zigzagging his way through the field. You don't really do that without getting a holding penalty called on you.
But it would have been after the interception, so either we would think either way that Eastview will have the ball, unless there was some sort of penalty on the defense before the throw.
And how about Zion Hester getting some action at free safety?
So it is after the interception, like you said, Travis. It's a call a block on the back on the return, so it'll just knock the Patriots back 10 yards. But solid play there, and yeah, like you said, Travis Hester checking into the game at safety and immediately making an impact on defense. He used to play defense in his sophomore year, and it's part of his junior year before he became the lead feature back on offense. But always a playmaker on either side of the ball anytime he's on the field.
And showing why he is one of the best players on this Eastview team. And, you know, what about this defense, too? Hats off to all of them. Their third turnover of the game, second of this quarter.
So it'll be first down and 10 here for the Patriots from midfield. As after the spot of the foul penalty on the block in the back, it'll mark them at the 50. Ref still talking things over as they'll come over to the Eastview sideline and talk to coach.
It's always hard to tell from up here what these referees are talking about because we can't pick up their microphones, and a lot of times they don't. I don't think they realize a lot of the time that they are being filmed and being broadcast live over the radio, so they don't feel the need to explain a lot of their decisions.
So I guess they sorted it out. First and 10 from the 50. Colson in shotgun, two receivers to his right. He'll turn and hand it off to Espinosa, who finds a big hole and gets a solid chunk of yards and moves the pile all the way for about a 7-yard gain. Give him 6.
Good run by Espinosa.
2nd and 4 from the 44, and Espinosa being chased immediately and brought down for a huge loss in the backfield. It was Christian Hamilton chasing him down. He was in the backfield immediately. Espinosa tried to outrun him away, but ended up just going down for a huge loss.
One of the offensive linemen missed a block there, missed an assignment, and you know, that's one of those plays where you go into film tomorrow morning and he's going to be called out for it.
3rd and 9 from the Wolf 49, just on the opposite side of midfield. And Colson in shotgun, 2 receivers, 3 down to his right, 1 up top to his left. He'll fake the hand. No, he did. No, he faked the handoff, fires it down the field and overthrew everyone. And probably fortunate for that, too, as Kobe Cavanaugh was in double coverage. A lot of guys in that area, and brings up 4th down.
You know, Jackson Colson hasn't really been throwing like his usual self all game, Steven, and I wonder if the weather has something to do with it. It's a really calm night, no wind. The last couple of weeks we've been playing in wind, and last week some cold, some rain, and I wonder if he's just gotten used to practicing and all of that stuff throughout the week too.
Yeah, I imagine so. So it'll be 4th down and 9 as Honstein will come in to punt it. And it's a high punt. It's going to be fielded at the 15. He drops it and then lands back on it. Fortunately for Weiss, they're able to hold on to the football as they will get it at the 13. .406 remaining here in the third quarter. Patriots on top, 35-0. Both teams with all 3 of their timeouts. Weiss just trying to get something positive going and get on the board.
I think that'll be a win for them tonight, is just to score any sort of points, even if it's just a field goal.
1st and 10 from their own 13, and Sandlin hands it off. And picking up maybe a yard is Jalen Sapenter, I believe. Trevon Watts, the man to bring him down.
Now Weiss getting into that kind of repetitive play call cycle now, where every play has been the same one, that handoff to the sweep to the right side by Askew.
It'll be 2nd down and 9 from their own 14, and Weiss content with letting this clock run. Sandlin in shotgun, 2 receivers to his right, and he'll throw on the run, and it is incomplete. Fired for the sideline, and his man was unable to bring it in. I believe it was McCoy. Yeah, Kobe McCoy was the intended receiver. And more substitutions being made by the Eastview defense as Hester will check back in. This time lines up at corner on the far side of the field. Will be one-on-one on this 3rd down play.
Got Devon Little playing on the other side, too, I believe.
Yeah, opposite. And firing, and in no man's land, falls incomplete, way behind the intended receiver, and bring up 4th down.
That was good defense there because Devon Little and the safety happened to run those 2 receivers off their intended route. I think they were going to cross each other, kind of make an X, and then Sandlin was just going to throw the ball to whichever one was open. However, none of them were open, and Sandlin threw the ball in the spot pretty much a predetermined spot. However, there was nobody in the vicinity.
So standing near his own goal line is Kaufman, who will punt this one away and gets it off. It's a line drive, takes a big bounce Weiss's way as Jackson can do nothing but just step out of bounds as he picks it up, and he is all the way back at his own 38-yard line where he stepped out. As that ball kind of rolled down low and steady for a while, even after the initial bounce. It wasn't a long kick, it just rolled a while. So 1st down and 10 from their own 38 here for Eastview as we have a new quarterback checking in. Colson's night is done, and Cameron Ruffin comes in. As Ruffin will line up in shotgun, 2 receivers to his right, he turns and hands it off, and ridden down and at the line of scrimmage is Hester. Does not get much. Doesn't get anything.
So Jackson Colson's night will end with 3 total touchdowns, 2 of them through the air and the other on the ground. 1-yard quarterback sneak and only 1 interception. Not a bad night for Mr. Colson.
Yeah, even on an off night, he played pretty well. 2nd down and 10 from his own 38. Ruffin to throw, and he's got his man up the left sideline. It's Little picking up the 1st down, I believe, or they're going to say he stepped out just before. It was really close to the marker. He's about a yard short and bring up 3rd and 1.
They're going to go in a hurry-up mode here.
Ruffin with 2 receivers wide on each side, standing in shotgun, 3rd and 1, and ref blows his whistle before they can snap it. I think the ball was placed a yard in front of where it should have been.
There might have been a clock issue as well.
Patriots have under 5 seconds to snap this ball, and Ruffin trying to make it happen, and he does as he hands it off to Hester, who ran into traffic and then gets dropped for a loss.
There was some sort of issue with the clock on that play, and I'm surprised the referees just didn't blow the play dead because the play clock went from 5 seconds to 25, and the game clock stopped for a second and then continued to tick. So that might be what this pause in the action is for now. The referees need to get these clocks synced up. And I think they are adding some time onto the game clock.
Wow, instead of anything with the clock, they call a late hit on Devon Little after the end of that run. So it'll be a 15-yard penalty. And I guess we're going to replay the 3rd down. So even though they had been stopped short of the 1st down, it's going to be a 3rd and a mile. Eastview making some more substitutions on offense now as Devon Little will check out. Caden Harris comes in at receiver for him. .157 remaining here in the 3rd quarter, and we'll see how they try to play it. 3rd down and 17. Now the refs huddling at the line of scrimmage.
And now looks like they're going to get everything set back up.
So 3rd and 17 from their own 31-yard line. Colson, or Ruffin rather, and shotgun with 2 receivers on each side. Ball on the left hash. And once again, refs blow the play dead before it can get started.
There's a lot of confusion on by the players on the field as well.
More substitutions being made, as now they'll say it is 4th down. I think that's why everyone was so confused, is now it is 4th down, and out comes the punt unit for Eastview, as they were told it was their 3rd down. So they were going to go on offense, and now it's 4th down. A mistake by the refs, and they'll punt.
Nearly
it
blocked.
Is almost blocked, yeah, Travis, as it's going to take a Eastview bounce and roll all the way to the 24-yard line. Good punt there by Honstein, but a weird series of events. And it'll be a 1st down for Weiss.
It'll be interesting to see what Weiss does on this drive, because a lot of the starters for Eastview are getting a lot of rest time, which is a decision I actually really agree with and really like. Might as well rest up your players. This is a blowout of a game. Eastview's probably going to easily take this. I say probably just because, you know how the last 3 weeks have gone.
So 1st and 10 from their own 24, and a handoff here. Oh, no, he kept it. Did the quarterback, and he is dragged down from behind. A flag is thrown. This might be a horse collar tackle on DK Little, was the man to bring him down.
Yeah,
but Sandlin was able to keep the ball. It's the first time we saw him keep it.
Yeah, Sandlin's jersey is really roughed up and bunched up around the middle of the back area, upper back area.
That's a 15-yard penalty added to the end of his run. It's an automatic 1st down. So even though they're down 35, they have kind of the momentum here in this late in this 3rd quarter, Travis.
Yeah, but what a great play call of read option, and Sandlin holding onto the ball and escaping to pick up the initial 1st down before that penalty. Nobody expected Sandlin to have the ball. I think they even fooled you, Steven.
Yeah, they did, as it'll be 1st down and 10. Just on the Patriots side of the field at the 47. They turn and hand it off, and cutting up the left sideline, a lot of room in front of him, finally brought down out of bounds. After the 1st down marker, it was Justin Henry on the tackle.
Askew was the ball carrier.
And he will check out, as Weiss will make some substitutions.
Well, the offensive and defensive line just kind of jumbled together in the middle of the field, and Askew saw that. He had enough time to turn left, pivot left, and roll out and pick up a bunch more yards and a 1st down as a result.
So 1st and 10 from the Patriot 30. Sandlin and shotgun will turn and hand it off, this time to McCoy, and he has stood up and brought down, ridden backwards and taken to the turf. After forward progress will give him no gain as he got back to the line of scrimmage, but then he was rocked backwards, and they'll bring up 2nd down.
Justin Henry, Isaiah Knight, and Jordan Hatley all involved in the tackle on that play. Great hustle. A lot of the tackles tonight have been, 2, 3, 4 defenders.
Sandlin looking to throw this time on 2nd down and 10, and he fires it just out of the reach of his intended receiver, who was right at the 1st down marker. It falls incomplete. And bring up 3rd down. More substitutions, mass substitutions being made by the Eastview defense, as nearly everyone checks out and is replaced.
I've noticed Coach Davies is keeping the starters in for just 1st and 2nd down, and on 3rd down, he's bringing in almost an entirely new backfield.
Yeah, and they almost get better, because these are guys who some of them only play offense normally, or playmakers like Hester lined up at corner on the top. And Sandlin looking to throw. It is over the head of everybody, went out of the field of play and falls incomplete. bring up 4th down.
And that was just overthrown. And the thing about Sandlin is, had he thrown that ball a little lower, probably could have been caught by the receiver and at least set up a 4th and 2.
Yeah, DK Little was on the coverage, and he looked like he was a little late getting over there. So an opportunity missed there by Weiss, as they will go for it here on 4th and 10 from the Patriot 30-yard line.
This is what they need to do, Steven.
And a timeout is taken by the Wolves before this 4th down. That is their first timeout of the second half. Patriots have all 3 of theirs. 22 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Patriots on top 35-0. Weiss just trying to get on the board. And facing a 4th and 10, we would expect a pass play here from the Wolves.
Yeah, on 4th and 10, especially at the 30-yard line, you got to go for it. The funny thing, I think, is that last throw, had it not been incomplete, had it not been overthrown, the wide receiver catches it. Worst case scenario, he gets tackled immediately. It's a 4th and 2, sets up about a 40-yard field goal. Or if they're going to go for it on 4th down, 4th and 2 is much more manageable than 4th and 10 because it sets you up with a lot more play calling options, specifically on the ground. I think Eastview knows this has to be a pass play, so they're going to set their defensive backs a little off, a little back.
So 4th and 10 from the Patriot 30. Sandlin and shotgun, 1 receiver wide on each side, and he will fake the handoff, throw it across the middle, and it is batted down as it falls incomplete. And Justin Henry had a chance at an interception, kind of multiple hands on the ball, and it falls incomplete. Dalton Love also on the coverage, and it'll be a turnover on downs, and the Patriots will get the ball back on their own 30.
You know, we've been talking about Jackson Colson overthrowing his intended targets throughout much of the night, but Sandlin has been having that same problem as well over the last couple of drives, and you got to wonder if that's just the weather being at factor. You know, they've been practicing in miserable, cold, windy weather all week.
1st and 10 from their own 30. Colson hands off to Espinoza, who rumbles forward for a 4-yard gain. And it was Ruffin, rather. Sorry. At quarterback. Colson's night is done. I'm so used to Colson being in there. As Cameron Ruffin handing off to Espinoza. That is the last play of the 3rd quarter, with your score, Eastview Patriots 35, Weiss Wolves 0. And we trudge on forward to the 4th quarter. I want to thank you for joining us here on SHNSports.com. Live coverage of Eastview Patriot football. Stephen Strong with you alongside Travis Banks. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all of the action each and every week here on SHN Sports, at SHN Sports.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're on Facebook, too. Go like us there. SHN is everywhere, and we're growing, and we really want you to be a part of these final 2 broadcasts. And just another reminder that we have sponsorships available. The packages start as low as $25 a game, and a portion of that will go back to Eastview High School and their athletic programs. So if you're interested, email Rob Hipp, the founder of SHN Sports. His email address is rob@shnsports.com. That's ROB@shnsports.com.
So here to start this 4th quarter, Patriots have a 2nd down and 6 from their own 34. Ruffin will turn and hand it off to Espinoza, who plugs up the middle, maybe gained 1. And bring up 3rd down.
And this will be an interesting play call here. Does Eastview decide to run it again? Or are they going to go for the pass play and ultimately end up punting the ball away if it falls incomplete?
3rd down and 4 from their own 35. Ruffin and shotgun. And turns and fakes the handoff to Espinoza. Fires across the middle, and it is caught. What a pass there as it is caught by Caden Harris to pick up the first down. A good-looking throw there from Ruffin.
Oh, and the defense bit on that fake handoff as well. They were expecting a run the whole way through. Great job and great timing to go for the play action.
First down and 10 from their own 45. Ruffin and shotgun will turn this time, hands it off, and it's Espinoza staying on his feet and then getting bumped around and knocked down. But tough running there from Espinoza to pick up 4.
Espinoza's having himself a quiet little night. We'll have to look at his stats because he's got to be nearing 100 yards at least. He's had some great runs throughout the night.
Second down and 6 from their own 49. Ruffin and shotgun. 2 receivers down to his left, 1 up to his right. And Jeremiah Knight is wide right with Caden Harris slot left and Devon Little wide left. And Ruffin fakes the handoff, looking to throw, and fires it down the field. It is incomplete, knocked away. It was intended for Caden Harris. He was open for a second, but the defender was able to get there just in time to knock the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, it was a great throw, great positioning by Caden Harris. It was just they had to jump up a little bit, and the defender was able to get his hand on the ball first and knock it down, bat it away, and that results in the incomplete pass.
Third down and 6 from their own 49. Ruffin, alone in the backfield, will fire it, and it is incomplete, intended for Caden Harris, but he wasn't looking for it yet. He hadn't come out of his break and had no idea that Ruffin had threw the football yet.
Rare miscommunication by Eastview's quarterback and wide receiver, and I think that's just because Ruffin is in, and they're used to having balls thrown by Jackson Colson.
So that'll bring out the punt team. Honstein will kick this from about his 36. As it's going to be take a bounce and into the arms and be marked down at about the 16, they'll say the 15-yard line, as DK Little was able to catch it and stop it there.
And now if you're on Eastview's defense, you've hit a point in the game where all that matters is preserving this shutout. Giving up yards, you know, you've got to kind of turn into a bend but don't break defense. You can give them a little bit of gains, but don't let them score.
So first and 10 from their own 15, a high snap. Trying to get on top of it was Sandlin, who was able to do so, but he just had to fall in the football by the time he had it. Huge loss. It's not really Sandlin's fault. He did everything he could to bring it in. It was just a very high snap.
Yeah, he had to jump up to get that snap, and he got a hand on it, but it was just too high for him to bring in. And again, that's one of those just miscommunications, just a very, very young team.
Goes down as a 10-yard loss. Second and 20 from their own 5. Sandlin and shotgun. This time the snap is good, and he fires it over, trying to get to the initial line of scrimmage and diving forward just short of the initial line of scrimmage, but a good chunk of yards gained back there. I believe it was Stuart Miller on the catch, as it'll bring up a 3rd and long.
Huge 3rd down and long here for Weiss. Because they don't get it here and they have to end up punting the ball away. They'll probably shank the punt. Or I should say, you know, squib it, I guess.
Third and 12 from their own 13. Sandlin spreading the field, 3 receivers to his right, and a little bubble screen is knocked down, incomplete, brings up 4th down, and they will have to punt it away. Good defense by the secondary of the Patriots to read that well and know where the ball was going.
Yeah, they knew what play was coming from the start, and the running back or the wide receiver who was the intended target on that screen pass by Sandlin He had a defender right behind him that was able to just knock the ball away, swat it down.
Jackson set to receive this punt. He may get a chance at it. No, it'll take a bounce and stop right at the 48. And then Jackson, for some reason, comes and dives on it. A little bit of a risky play there, but I guess they gained a yard out of it on the slide, as it'll be at the 47 in Wolf territory for the Patriot offense. .820 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Patriots on top, 35-0. First down and 10 from the 46. And they'll turn and hand it off to Hester, who makes a man miss, makes another man miss, and then just steps out of bounds. He was like, I'm done with this show. I'm going to stay healthy. And excellent run there to pick up the first down.
Just watching Zion juke all those defenders, and he just kind of stops short and makes them fall over there themselves, and then he just jumps right over them. It's really majestic looking, like watching a gazelle gallop or something.
First down and 10 from the 31 in Wolf territory, as Ruffin will roll left and fires it, and it is caught. It is dropped by Caden Harris, an on-target throw, a nice-looking throw from Ruffin, and Harris just unable to handle it and bring up second down.
Nice-looking throw, but it was a bullet of a throw. I mean, Ruffin threw that like there was going to be no tomorrow. It's really not a surprise that that was unable to be caught.
Second down now and 10 from the Wolf 31. This time they hand it off to Espinoza, who rumbles forward for about a 4-yard gain. Brings up third down.
Third down. I think Eastview, with this field position, they'd really like to get this first down. Better yet, they'd really like to get inside the end zone. So look for them to fight for every yard.
3rd and 6 from the 33, or from the 27. 7:30 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Ruffin and shotgun, 2 receivers down to his left, 1 up top to his right. He'll turn and pick the handoff to Espinoza, fires to the left side to Devon Little, who gets all the way inside the 15, picks up the first down and then some. I think they're going to mark him right at the 15.
Looks like there's a late flag at the 20 maybe, unless that's the T. No, that's not a flag.
No, it is yeah, it's a flag.
Oh, okay, holding. It was hard to tell if that was a flag on the ground or not. I don't know why. It was like really crumpled and not in the shape of a flag. I don't know. That's unfortunate that it negates a first down catch by Devon Little. Holding.
So we will replay the third down and brings up 3rd and 9 from the 31, or from right at the 30. Original line of scrimmage was at the 31. So 3rd and 9 from the Wolf 30. Ruffin and shotgun, 2 receivers wide on each side. Kavanaugh slot left. And Ruffin drops the snap, gets it up, and now he's going to take off and run with it. Makes a man miss, and then is spun down. Face mask is going to be called on the end of this run as they were trying to reach for Ruffin to spin him down. A very clear view from up here and from the line judge, who was right there to see it. It's going to be a face mask on Weiss, which should give the Patriots a break and get the automatic first down.
Just a reminder, if you need to call your ride, it is time to call your ride. If you need to call your parents, pick you up.
So, yeah, if you're Eastview, you pretty much have to score on this drive. No exceptions.
First down and 10 from the Wolf 13. Ruffin and shotgun, 3 receivers wide to his right, as he'll turn and hand it off to Espinoza with some daylight in front of him, getting into the left corner and out of bounds. A flag is thrown like right where Espinoza was running. And they say he went out at the 1, but there's a flag anyway, so.
Holding again. That's not what you want to see at this point in the game. Especially at this point in the season, really, when you think about it. This is the 8th game.
Well, in their defense, there is a lot of backups out there right now. So, got a lot of guys that don't get too much playing time. So it'll be 1st down and 10 from the 12, and Devon Little catches it in the corner of the end zone on the fade route from Ruffin. What a perfect throw and perfect placement on the ball by Cameron Ruffin to get the Patriot touchdown to Devon Little.
That is Devon Little's first touchdown catch of the night, and it's the only real surprise is that it came this late in the ball game. A great fade throw by Ruffin. He knew exactly where Devon Little was going to run. Devon Little knew exactly where to stop, where to jump, and was able to beat his defender in making that catch.
And Honstein able to get the point after through. So with 6:10 remaining here in the 4th quarter, Patriots are on top 42-0. Weiss with 2 timeouts remaining. Patriots still have all 3.
You know, good on Reed Honstein. You know, he's had a couple of games this season where he's missed an extra point or two. He's 6 for 6 so far tonight. Has not had to attempt a field goal.
Yeah, and that's the main relief. A lot of times this offense has sputtered in the red zone or had some trouble getting into the end zone. Not tonight. They've done their job, as the defense has done theirs as well, pitching a shutout so far.
And like I said earlier, Stephen, the pride of the defense now has shifted to maintaining that shutout. So I tell you what, I was at a Texas A&M football game a couple of years ago. It was before they were in the SEC, but the defense was pitching a shutout. I think they were playing Kansas, and the final 5 seconds of the game is when Kansas got onto the scoreboard, and the crowd that was remaining there was just so let down because that was really the only thing keeping a bunch of the students invested in the ball game.
Honstein with a deep line drive kick that goes into the end zone for the touchback, and Weiss will get it at their own 25. But yeah, Travis, you know, the defense has played so well throughout this entire game. Even with the 42-point lead, it's going to be a little disappointing if they end up giving up some points. So yeah, I agree with you. Everyone here is wanting this score for Weiss to stay at 0. And we'll see if this defense can keep it going as Weiss trots back onto the field. 1st down and 10 from their own 25. Sandlin and shotgun, 1 receiver on each side. Will turn and hand it off to Askew, who rumbles forward for about a 2-yard gain. 6 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter.
I think another thing for this Weiss offense, you know, they want to get some points on the board, but at the same time, they need to get out of this game injury-free because they're not going to be looking at any playoff games this season. They're not going to be making the playoffs, but they would like to keep all their players healthy.
As they'll hand it off this time once again, and ridden down, maybe gained a yard, is the back Askew, and brought down by Roland Hines to bring up this 3rd down and 7.
Roland Hines is a name that I know we were calling out a lot last year. We haven't called as much this year. I know a lot of times I'm struggling to just see who is catching the ball and everything, focusing more on the offense. So that's my excuse for not calling his name out a lot.
Looking to throw this time down the field. It is just overthrown to the speedster Stuart Miller streaking down the field. He had beat Isaiah Quinton Jackson, and that's not easy to do. But Sandlin just missed him, overthrew him a little bit, and brings up 4th down.
He was trying to lead Miller on that pass play, and unfortunately for him, just ended up overthrowing Miller. And ECU's defense catches a lucky break because that ball, if that ball is any more accurate, then that's a touchdown.
So the punt is away. It's a better punt than we've seen before as Jackson picks it up at the 30, streaking up the left sideline and cutting it back in, and then ridden out of bounds. Took a big hit as he was about to step out of bounds, but he hadn't yet, so it's a legal hit and a solid hit put on Jackson as they'll mark him out right at the 46, but a solid return there from Jackson.
Yeah, Isaiah Quinton Jackson, he's had himself a number of really good returns over the last couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago against Bastrop, he took a kickoff all the way to the house, about 90 yards if I recall correctly. And has not been fortunate enough to take one all the way back over the last 2 games, but he set up ECU with some decent field position.
4:44 remaining here in the 4th quarter. 1st down and 10 from the Wolf 46. Ruffin with one receiver wide on each side. He'll turn and hand it off to Espinosa, who patiently picks up a couple yards.
The clock will continue to tick.
You know, we've seen Ruffin in limited action so far this season, but he's looked sharp tonight. He's got a strong arm. He's throwing some bullets out there. As it'll be 2nd down and 8 from the Wolf 44. Ruffin in shotgun, one receiver on each side, turns, hands it off to Espinosa up the middle, and made the initial man miss, and then gets dropped at the 41 to bring up 3rd and manageable.
Yeah, we talked last year about how a lot of Eastview's struggles were just because of quarterback play, Stephen, but I really think Eastview set up for at least the next 3 or so years with Jackson Colson and then Cameron Ruffin. Well, Cameron Ruffin's a senior, so he won't be seeing too much more action here for Eastview High School, but Jackson Colson, he'll be back next year.
3rd and 5 from the Wolf 41. Ruffin, one receiver on each side in shotgun. With Espinosa standing at his left, he'll turn and hand it off to him, running in the right hash and getting rocked, but not before he picks up the Patriot 1st down. Gained a couple more yards and paid for it, but a solid run there to pick up the 1st down.
Yeah, and it looks to me like Eastview, they're slowing down the tempo as we hit underneath the 3-minute mark of this game. And Eastview, they've been running a lot of no huddle throughout the season, but they're huddling up and they're taking their time. 15 seconds and counting remaining on the play clock.
1st down and 10 from the Wolf 33. Ruffin and shotgun, one receiver on each side. Espinosa at his right. He'll turn, hand it off to Espinosa with a lot of daylight that quickly went away, but he picked up 6 on the play. And yeah, Travis, by now, you know, Espinosa quietly having a good game. He's got to have over 100, near 100 yards.
Still feel bad. I feel like I was a little too harsh on him earlier. I didn't mean to be. He did have a bit of a slow start, only picking up gains of, you know, like 3-ish yards on every carry. But right around the end of the 1st quarter, he started taking off, and then Zion Hester got back into the game. And then when Zion Hester came out and started playing more defense, Espinosa took over.
2nd and 3, they handed it off to Espinosa again, trying to fight for that 1st down marker. He moves the pile and gets across to pick up the Patriot 1st down. Physical running there from Espinosa.
Excellent physical running as well. He knew exactly where that first down marker was, and he was going to fight until he crossed it.
If anyone cares about baseball, the World Series Game 3 going on right now, and Dodgers had been leading that game 1-0 for a majority of it, and Boston just hit a homer to tie the game in the bottom of the 8th, so tied at 1 in the World Series. Good game going on there, as now the Patriots will be able to just kind of take a knee as they do there on that first down. Ruffin takes a knee. They'll have to take one more before this game's over.
And a big win tonight here for Eastview, as they needed to shake those demons, get that monkey off of their back, and hold on to a halftime lead. I know they did it 2 weeks ago against Bastrop, but that was a thrilling game, and they needed all of that game to end up winning the game against Bastrop. Bastrop nearly came back.
And there is the last knee for the Patriots, and that will wind us down, as Weiss will not elect to use their timeouts, and no reason to, as the clock strikes 0 here at Birkelbach Field. Your final, Eastview Patriots 42, Weiss Wolves 0. So they do complete the shutout. And we're going to keep it right here for the postgame. And thank you for joining us live on SHN Sports for Eastview Patriot Football. Travis, after a disappointing, toughest loss of the season, arguably last week for Eastview, they come back home and they get the dominant victory over the winless Weiss Wolves. What impressed you the most tonight?
Honestly, it was the defense. Just the fact that they got some turnovers. They were positive in the turnover margin for the first time in quite some time. 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery on the evening. It's been quite some time since this defense has created any turnovers at all. So the fact that they were able to get 3 of them in one game, that shows, patience is a virtue, and Eastview rewarded for their patience tonight, at least on defense. And what an effort, too. That's not even mentioning the shutout. I know Weiss is not among the elite football programs in the state, considering they're a brand-new school, a brand-new football team. But to be able to pitch a shutout is impressive no matter who you are. So hats off to the defense. We ought to just give them the entire defense gets our defensive MVP award for tonight, at least in my eyes.
Absolutely. I agree with you. This defense played their best game of the season, and lots of guys making lots of plays, a variety of playmakers and people making a difference down there on the field, all resulting in the blowout win for Eastview. And as they celebrate their school, playing their school song in front of their home crowd. And we look forward to next week on the road in Cedar Creek.
It will be at the Bastrop ISD Memorial Stadium that is located in Cedar Creek, and Eastview will be playing Cedar Creek. Remember last year, Stephen, that was a game that Eastview probably should have pulled away and ended up ultimately losing, which is a game that cost them a playoff spot. It's a game, looking at the district schedules as well, that Eastview theoretically should win, but that's why the games are played. You never quite know what is going to happen on any given Friday night. But it will also be the last road game of the season and Eastview's last chance to pick up a win on the road this season. They remain winless.
Well, they're off on the right footing on the way to that game as they win in dominant fashion, as we're going to wrap up our post-game show here from Birkelbach Field. Once again, your final score, Patriots 42, Wolves 0. On behalf of everyone here at SHN Sports, Travis Banks, I'm Stephen Strong, signing off here from Birkelbach Field. I want to thank you once again for tuning in for the Patriot W, and we'll see you next week from Bastrop Stadium. You're listening to Eastview Patriot Football live on SHN Sports, and have a wonderful night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by the Shoning Hip Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, use of sound bites and interviews, and use of any other content, including audio or video, without the direct written consent and permission by the Shoning Hip Network is strictly prohibited and protected by federal and copyright laws. All rights are reserved by the Shoning Hip Network and SHNSports.com.